All right, guys, happy Wednesday. It's Miss Lastly and Miss Markert, and we are here for day 3, multiplying matrices. So yesterday we talked about multiplying matrices by a scalar, just one constant on the outside, and you distribute it into the whole thing. Today we're actually looking at what you'd have to do in order to multiply 2 matrices together. It's a little bit strange, and the rules are a little weird, so just pay attention and hopefully you'll get it. All right, turn it over to Miss Markert. Go girl.
Yes. So this is a little funky, so bear with me. Hopefully it will make sense. If not, while I'm explaining it, at least while I do an example, and you guys will understand. Think of key points as more rules than anything else, but we'll just roll with it. Okay, so when we're multiplying matrices together, so 2 matrices together, the first thing we need to talk about is to find the product A. So if we have 2 matrices, so we have A, and then just so that everything is set up nicely for our notes, let's say that A's order is a 2 by 3 matrix, and B's order is a 3 by 2 matrix. Okay, so to find product AB, we have to have, so the number of columns of matrix A has to be equal to the number of rows of matrix B. So has to equal to the number of rows of matrix B. Also, sorry, there's planes flying over my house right now. They're really loud. Okay, so what this means is that when we go to multiply A times B together, so we said originally that A's order was a 2 by 3, and then we're multiplying it by a 3 by 2 matrices. So if we were to draw a box around these 2 numbers right here, they have to be equal. So remember, when we're talking about order, rows come first, columns come second, and we've said from day one that that's really important to get straight because it will trip you up if you don't have that straight, and this is why. So remember that those have to be equal, otherwise this isn't going to work. So that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing you need to know is the solution to the product. Solution to the product will be a matrix with number of rows of matrix A and the number of columns of matrix B, and that'll make more sense in a second. Columns okay, so going back to our A times B, when we have a 2 by 3, we're multiplying it by a 3 by 2, and we drew our little box, and we know that the columns of matrix A are equal to the rows of column B. So now to find the solution matrix, we look at these 2 outside pieces. So the rows of column A and the rows of matrix A and the columns of matrix B is how big your solution matrix will be. So when you multiply all this together, the matrix A times B will be a 2 by 2 matrix. And then when we're multiplying matrices, we multiply row by column. So that will make more sense also in a second. But it's a lot to keep straight, I know. But we can do it. And multiply row by column. Why don't we do an example, and hopefully this will make sense, because I feel like this is one of those things where if you need an example for it to make sense. Yeah, okay. So let's do this first example here. So we have A times B. So the first thing we need to look at is the order, right? Because we need to make sure that we can actually multiply these two together. So we have a matrix here, and it's a 2 by 3, and this is a 3 by 2. So when you look at these two pieces are the same, which means that we can multiply these two matrices together, and we have these two outer pieces. So we can say that A times B will be a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so then to multiply these two actually together, we're going to take A times B, and you're going to multiply row by column. So in our first spot here, we're going to have row A1 times column B1. And then here we're going to have row A1 times column B2. Here we're going to have row A2 times column B1. And then here we're going to have row A2 times column B2. Yes. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So to fill in pieces here, let's do that first piece. So row A1 times column B1. So you're going to have 2, and you're going to multiply to corresponding elements. So like the first one in row A is going to be multiplied to the first one in row B. So we're going to have 2 times 1, and then you're just going to add each piece together. And then we're going to have 1 times 0 plus 1 times -3. And that's going to equal -1. I didn't leave myself very much room. I overestimated my ability to write small. Okay. Cool. And then let's just keep filling in pieces. So we have row A2 times column B1. So you're going to take the bottom row of A, and then you're going to multiply it by the first column in B. So we're going to have 0 times 1 plus 1 times 0 plus 2 times 1, and that's going to equal 2. And then we have row A1 times column B2. You're going to have 2 times -4 plus 1 times 2 plus -3 times 0, and this is going to equal -6. And then you're going to have row A2 times column B2, and this is going to be 0, -4, there we go, plus 1 times 2 plus 2 times 0, and this one is also equal to 2. So our product, A times B, is equal to -1, -6, 2, 2, and that's your answer. So it's a little bit strange, but anything to add, Miss Lastly, before I do the next example?
No, the only thing that, because it's a lot to keep track of, a lot of students use highlighters for this. So they'll highlight like their row, and they'll highlight the column they're multiplying by to help like with the visual. But it's just organizing. So it's row times column, and every row in the first matrix is getting multiplied by every column in the second matrix. So just kind of whatever you have to do, whether you use highlighters or you write it out like Miss Marker did, kind of off to the side, whatever you have to do to kind of keep yourself organized, that's the important part. Just remember, rows of the first matrix multiplied by columns of the second matrix. And then you just add all the pieces together. But yeah, it's just takes practice. It's a little weird, and it's a lot of kind of like math on the side, like Miss Marker did, but just be careful. Use highlighters, whatever you need to keep track of like rows and columns.
Yeah. It's a little tedious, but with a little practice, it isn't as bad as it looks, hopefully. All right, cool. We have one more example, and hopefully this example makes not more sense, but this one's super simple, and we will show you why in a second. Okay, so we are asked to find product A, B, and we have a 2 by 3 matrix here, and here we have a 2 by 2 matrix. So if we were to find A times B, we would have a 2 by 3 times a 2 by 2. And if we were to box these two middle ones, these are not equal, so we are not allowed to multiply these together. And so when this happens, we write undefined or not possible, whatever you want to write works. And that's all you have to do for those problems. So
yeah, even if you forget to check, it's never going to work out, right? So remember we said you have to multiply rows of the first one by columns of the second one. Look what happens if we try and multiply row 1 of matrix A by column 1 of matrix B. You don't have enough numbers, right? So you would be multiplying 2 times 3, 1 times 2, and then -3 doesn't have anything to multiply to because there's not enough numbers in that column. So you would be stuck. You'd be like, I don't have enough numbers to multiply. And so you would know it's got to then be undefined. So yes, you should be checking the order every time to see if those middle two numbers match. But even if you forget, you're gonna get stuck when you try and multiply anyways, as long as you remember row times column, because you're not gonna have enough numbers.
one thing on the homework too, the order of this piece is important. So if you have something like A times B, and then we ask you to find B times A, one might work, one might not. So check both. Just don't think that because one didn't work, the other doesn't work. So check both, because one might work, one might not. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's all we've got for today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right, guys. This was probably the toughest day of the week, but just let us know on Schoology if you guys have any questions about it. The good thing about Matrices is that you can find a bunch of example videos. And this didn't give you enough examples or whatever. Matrices are a pretty popular topic to make videos for because they're pretty useful. Hopefully this was good. Row times column should be pretty okay. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions. And for those of you taking AP exams, good luck. Hopefully they go well or went well if you took them yesterday. But yeah, so we will see you tomorrow. We're not doing a video in the morning, right? Just a live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so tomorrow is just extra mixed practice from this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, so we'll see you not in a video, but we will see you during our live stream for those of you guys that make it. But yeah, so have a good rest of your day and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.